Okay, welcome back, Pre-Cal. Hopefully you watched the other videos that I had made in the past. A couple things I want to point out to you. We do like this A plus BI form right here. That would be preferable. Yeah, that's relatively straightforward. I think I talked through this part in the previous videos. I did work out all of these just now so that you can have the answer key. What I do when I see this is I multiplied the two together that were the more complicated, and because I had to do more multiplying with this x plus 1 right there. So I multiplied those two first. I multiplied x minus 4 times x minus 2, and then got this, and then multiplied through by x plus 1. You may notice, okay, let me get rid of that. You may notice here that I'm very intentional about my columns. So all of that, those are like terms in those columns right through there. So what I did is I multiplied x through by everything and got that top row, and then I came along and I multiplied the 1 through by everything, got this row, and then I added up my like terms. So if you have another method, fantastic. This just keeps me organized. So I went ahead. I am now a huge fan of that option 3. So that's what I did on these that get more complicated. I set it equal to x, move things over. I can only do that because it's irrational or non-real, and they tell me that all of my coefficients are going to be rational. So notice back here that just because these didn't travel with a buddy. Those were already rational numbers, and we can't imply or we can't assume that they travel with a buddy. It's just this is a cubic function. It has these 3 zeros, and there we go. With this, I could have told you, if I had told you that their coefficients are rational, and I had given you even just 2 plus root 5, you would have known by default that 2 minus root 5 had to also be involved in order to have rational coefficients. So hopefully that makes sense. Oh, that's not what I wanted to do. Okay, sorry. This one got a little bit more involved, the letter D right here. So on that one, I had to get those two quadratics and then multiply them out. And then once again, I went through, multiplied everybody by x squared and got that row. And then I multiplied everybody by negative 4x and got that row. And then I multiplied everybody by 13 and got that row, and then I combined my like terms, but I had it set up so that my like terms were on top of each other. Okay, so now let's look at the next situation here. So I may do, I'll do number 6, and I think that they're really basically the same. Okay, so on number 6, if they tell me that 2 minus, so I'll do number 6, and then I'll give you a hint on number 7, and then I'll let you, and then I'll turn off the video. So, and then post my answer key. Okay, so on this one, if 2 minus I is a 0, then we know, and notice that none of the coefficients have an imaginary number. So that 2 minus I had to travel with a buddy. And so in particular, so it's 2 minus I, it would also have traveled with 2 plus I. I sure like the number 2. I think all of my problems involve the number 2 somewhere. So I keep getting the same numbers, but we're fine. I tried to keep them small. Anyway, x squared minus 4x plus 4 is now equal to, that negative squared becomes a positive, the I squared, so that becomes a negative 1. So then when I add it to the other side, I end up with x squared minus 4x plus 5 equals 0. So since I know that this is a factor of this, and it's quadratic, I'm going to have to use long division. So we're going to cruise along here and use long division. And so this is x squared minus 4x plus 5. Hopefully you've practiced long division a bit. If not, you're going to practice it some more. X to the 4th divided by x squared is just x squared. I line up my columns. This gives me x squared minus 4x cubed plus 5x squared. Come along, change my signs. That's gone. Oh, that's nice. That's gone too. And so now I have 3x squared I lied, a negative 3x squared plus 28x. Did I copy something down wrong? Oh, I sure did. Okay, I expected it to work out nicely, and I realized that it wasn't working out nicely, so I knew something was wrong. Here's what was wrong. I made that a positive 2x squared instead of a negative. Okay, so let's fix this right here. I was just testing you to see if you were paying attention. Did you pass? Okay, so that becomes a negative 7x squared plus 28x minus 35. Okay, see already, notice I slowed down and I hesitated because I knew that 3 and that 28 weren't going to divide nicely. I wasn't sure what was going to happen. Okay, so then when I divide negative 7x squared divided by x squared, I get a negative 7. Multiplying that back, I get a negative 7x squared. I get a positive 28x, and I get a negative 35, which is exactly what I wanted because it's exactly the same. So when I come through and change my signs, I get nothing, which is perfect. Okay, so they say completely factor that over the set of real numbers. Oh, given that that's, okay, so to completely factor it over the real numbers, that means I need f of x to be factored x squared minus 4x plus 5 multiplied here by x squared minus 7. This can keep going, though. If I keep going with this one, keep in mind if x squared minus 7 equals 0, then x squared equals 7. Square root, plus minus, x equals plus or minus root 7. And so I can factor, these are not rational numbers, but are, the positive root 7 and negative root 7, they're not rational, but they are real. And so they said to factor it completely over the set of real numbers. And so this becomes, God bless you, this becomes x minus root 7 times x plus root 7. And now this is as factored as it can be. I'm going to get rid of all this. That's as factored as it can be without entering the complex numbers. So if I tried to break down this part right here, well, that would break down. It would be moving backwards to there, to that the x minus 2. But since they said to factor it over the real numbers, I have to stop right there. Okay, so on the quick little hint on the next one is what I see on the next one. Hang on, I need to get rid of that. Sorry. Okay. What I see here with a 0 of 3, then I'm going to come along and say, okay, well, let's do synthetic division with 3 and see what happens. So I have 1, that gives me 1, that gives me 3, this gives me 1, that's 3. Oh, lovely, that's gone. Okay, so find all the zeros we now have. We now know that we've got, this would be x minus 3 times x squared plus x plus 1. And with that, I either have to do, that doesn't factor, I either have to complete the square or do the quadratic formula or something like that. So I'm going to stop the video and then finish these last two. So see what you can do on your own and then go check my answer key. All right, good luck.